Okay. Time to talk about water. So there's lots of things we can do, and of course we shouldn't waste water. There should never be an idea that because this isn't the end-all to end-all that we should waste it. We should do our part to save it, but we also have to pressure all those people to do in government to do the right thing. Is there any questions? Yes, sir.
Now it's on. I have a problem with our dear governor, and let me just quickly say that my wife and I were at the post office on Creekside just about a year ago, 11 o'clock Tuesday, nice warm day. Sprinklers were on, most of them were broken, it was all running into the street. I've had occasion to go by Golden Valley High School on a Saturday night at midnight. Sprinklers are on, they're broken, all running into the street. So I know you have a lot of contacts, and to the governor I say, get the government to do this, and then maybe I'll start to listen to him, because I'm ticked.
Well, I think that I know the city of Santa Clarita has told us, and we reported that here before, that they want to know if you see that coming out of any of their medians and so on and so forth. And I think you're right. I think that we need to establish the same kind of thing with all the school districts, with all the other agencies as well, that if we see them being wasteful as well, we should let them know. Like I said, we don't want to waste the resource. So yes, and I'm going to, based on what you're saying, I think that's a good thing. I'm going to go and start making contact with like the school districts. We got a school district guy in the back of the room here from Sulphur Springs about where it could be that we could set up to report it if we see a problem with irrigation at a particular place. Judy?
If you find a problem with water at one of the high schools, junior highs out here, call the district office and report it. Ask to speak to the maintenance department. I don't know if that would be exactly who's responsible for it, but don't let it go unnoticed. They want to be responsive, but they too are not really there at midnight seeing that this is going on. At least they are watering at night, not in the middle of the day.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Dunn.
Yeah, your comment about the present fix isn't really effective is correct, but they have a couple of other very expensive fixes that in the same boat. They did convince the people in the state of California to vote a multi-billion-dollar bond to build reservoirs for the rain that isn't coming. And that bond is in effect now, and they admit that's not going to help the drought, so they have this other bond that's even more, over $50 billion. They're going to build a 32-mile pipeline from Oroville Dam under the Delta to solve the Delta problem, and they're going to do that to transmit that or transport that water that's not in the Oroville Dam because the rain isn't coming to the aqueduct in the state of California. So all those billions in those two bonds, and they want us to pass the second bond when they get around to bring it out, is to provide us water that isn't coming. If they take those same billions and go to the ocean, we'd have drought-proof water.
Well, that's true. And I understand what you're saying about taking water from a reservoir that doesn't have any water and piping it under the Delta to another new reservoir that doesn't have any water. But the whole thing, too, is we have some, at a city level, not to be curt about it, at the city level, we have some things that we could do right now, okay, and we're not doing them. So as an example, we pump 67,000 gallons a day out from under Shangri-La. And we were throwing it away. And now, because of the agreement that the city signed with the Water Quality Control Board, we're putting it in our sewer system. So it adds to our 20 million gallons a day. Burmite said to us when we were up there, the Burmite project manager said, I'm about to install the perchloride scrubbers, and I'm going to pump out 60,000 gallons a day out from Bermite, and I don't have any place to put the water except just, put it in somewhere where it'll evaporate or put it in the river. So I asked questions. I said to the guys at City Hall, you tell me it takes a lot to pipe this stuff across the valley. Well, here, this is across the street. Can we actually use this stuff? And the only answer I got was, this was at the budget meeting. The answer I got to that was, well, recycling water is expensive. So I'm almost of the opinion that what we have going on here is we have a group of leaders that are not willing to take on the challenge of helping to solve the problem, and they got their fingers and toes crossed, and they're hoping that it goes away. Right? Good. Yeah.
So there was a great article. What?
Give them the other one.
Is that on?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to read this thing. So anyway, there was a great article in the LA Times by Michael Hiltzik. I don't know if you got a chance to read it this week. And one of the things they were talking about was sort of the demonizing of almonds. And I think to kind of turn around your follow the money concept, I think what that list was showing was the most profitable crops or the most profitable use of money. And part of what his article was talking about was the fact that almonds are actually a really profitable way of using the water. There was some talk of they're taking a gallon of water to grow an almond, whereas it takes 3 gallons of water to grow a head of broccoli. And so they were saying that actually in terms of water cost or water value, that almonds were actually something that was a good use of water compared to many, many crops that aren't very efficient in what they turn around. But one of the things that I'd like you to address, because I'm sure you've looked into this, and we've had 2 development presentations in the last 2 meetings, is when I'm driving around and I'm thinking, gosh, I gotta take a shorter shower and I might be a little stinkier all day. And then I see a brand new development going in, the Trestles, what's going on Plum Canyon. We built it to make it faster than we're filling it with homes and traffic. But what's the correlation? I mean, aren't some counties actually capping the number of new homes that can be built? Or is that just the wrong way to look at it? I feel like I'm saying I'm taking a shorter shower so developers can make more money.
Well, I understand that. I think when Tom Clark was just here, he was talking about the fact that he has to go through an EIR process. And he also has to go through a process that requires the water agencies to declare whether or not there's enough water for his project, right? So the question is, are they telling us the truth, right? Are they telling us the truth? Even when I did, a few years back, I did an addition on my house. I added a whole 242 square feet, that huge amount to make it a mega mansion. And when I did that, and I went through the permitting process, one of the things I had to do was go down to the water company to get them to sign it off. That either they had enough water to support my 242 square feet, or as they quickly discovered, I wasn't adding a bathroom, so that was okay. And I actually then had to go to the school district and tell them about my 242 square feet so that they could make sure I wasn't adding a bedroom so they could collect the tax on the bedroom. But I had to go down there, and I had to go to the water company. And I don't think that the water companies if I saw CLWA and Newhall Water doing everything they could to recycle everything, I would say, okay, you're probably doing the right thing. But if they're telling me I got to conserve 25%, and at the same time they're telling a whole bunch of other people, oh yeah, there's plenty of water, don't worry about a thing, there's a disconnect there. Someone's not being honest with us, right? And so when you go to the city and say, hey guys, you know, what's going on? And you get answers like, well, water recycling is expensive. Or I got another good answer the other. You can go watch this on video. I mean, I asked a question in public participation, and the answer comes back, right? The last answer that came back from Keller to me was, CLWA has a plan. Well, that's nice, Bob. What is it, right? So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I think there is a disconnect. Now, I would bet that in some respects, it will depend upon whether the project is already entitled or the project is going through the planning process now. But if the drought gets worse, look, we use 20% of the water. Let's suppose we didn't get to use any of it at all. 20%. That we didn't get a drop urban use. Remember that year? You had a year's worth of water? What happens if you save 25%? What do you think happens if you don't use any water at all? 40 days. You extend the water time 40 days. At the savings that we're doing now, it takes multiple days. It takes like 16 days to save a day's worth of agricultural use. We can't solve the problem. We cannot conserve ourselves out of this problem. Something else has to happen.
Hey, Alan?
Yeah.
You said that recycling the water was expensive. Tell those people it's probably less expensive, will save them money because you might have to truck it from Oregon and Washington, and that'll cost more.
Sure. I think we should all pray for rain. because with what we're seeing coming out of our governmental agencies, that seems to be the only thing that's going to save us, right? If we get rain. Because you're right. Well, there are people now in Aqua Dulce whose wells are dry, and they're trucking water in. They have to get a truckload of water every so many days. We have people up on the upper part of Bouquet Canyon whose wells are dry. So yeah, it's going to get more expensive. And you know what? This is not going to be good. The one thing that I don't understand, you guys got to help me out here. Mr. Archuleta, you are an expert in politics. Okay, you are a political expert. So I need you to help me out in this, right? Tell me what. Aren't the urban water users the majority of the voters?
But maybe they don't have the money.
Oh, that's true. Okay. All right. Well, there is an election coming in 2016. Go ahead.
Yes, the water suppliers, the retail water suppliers, have to issue a will serve letter. Is that on? Is that on? Either works.
Give me the other one. Where's the other one? It was on?
It was on? Okay, I talked
Okay.
louder. Having been on 2 elected local water boards, the experts, the directors and staff on those water agencies have to issue a will serve letter. Well, the homes in the state of California, over the whole state, use an acre-foot of water per year. The actual records of the meters prove that. The officials at state DWR say that. All of these water purveyors say, no, the home only uses, for a while they said a half acre foot. And then they upped it to 62. Now I think they're saying the home uses 62, 0.62 of an acre foot. And what's the purpose? To build more homes and after the home's built, it still needs an acre foot. So they're cutting us short when they give the will serve letter to the developer. They're cutting us short on water right there. Someday in the future when the homes have purple pipes going in and all the irrigation on the yard is done with recycled water, we might have the home with potable water using a half acre foot of 0.62. But we're not there yet. We're using a full acre foot. So if you hear 5,000 homes, you know that's 5,000 more acre foot of water that's needed to supply them.
Are you saying that they're being dishonest with us?
Oh, no, just misleading.
I'm shocked. I am. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it just seems odd to say, yeah, you can have so many more acre feet because you want to build so many more houses, but at the same time, they're telling you, you can't take a shower, right? It doesn't make sense. But anyway, let's hope that our political leaders step up to the plate and get something done. Is there anybody else?
Isn't this really a pricing problem, Alan, where you have agriculture being subsidized with their water? So the reason that almonds show that they're a very profitable crop is that they're paying a subsidized price. It wouldn't be better to let market forces come to bear in the price of water so that agriculture and residential users and industrial users were more equally priced, and that we could rationalize the use of water, Alan?
Well, I think what you're talking about, and I've read the articles about it also, is water rights and the differences in water rights depending upon when it occurred, when the rights were granted, and who you are, it is definitely not the same. So that's probably a good reason. Now, it's a good reason why the ag guys don't want to do anything, because they are making a substantial amount of money anyway. In the articles I read, it said that the number of acres planted is down because they don't have enough water. We know that they got severe reductions up and down by the I-5 when they stopped pumping out of the Delta, but at the same time, they're not willing to modernize, and probably part of the reason is because they get water at a different rate. And of course, they're pumping it out of the ground, right? So they have water rights to pump it out of the ground, and then it's much cheaper, right? Because they don't pay for it coming out of the ground. They just pay for the cost of pumping. Yes, Cam?
Yes, Al, I believe it's either in the Daily News or the Times today. There's some excellent articles you might want to look at, and they're talking about what we've been talking about for years, what you call paper water. It's on paper, but they really don't have it. So you might want to look at those. They were excellent in going through it. I can't recount it right now, but I also read a cute cartoon that said, we have been praying for water, but we forgot to pray for snow. And that is what the governor is talking about.
Yep.
We don't have the snowpack there that we should have. And also, we are not getting the correct information from our water companies. I can't talk any more about that right now, but
Okay.
yes. But do look at that, and they are calling it paper water. And a lot of them aren't planting because they're selling it at $700 an acre foot or something now. So it's the new gold, and we'll have to see what happens.
Well, there's no argument that it's a drought. There's no argument there's a shortage. But I think there is a valid concern. If there's really a shortage, why are we increasing consumption? And maybe not that we need to take away anybody's ability to develop their own property, but maybe it's just not the right time.
Well, all of this is very interesting. CLWA has these charts and things that they show where they're going to get all this water, and they have some banking up north in the Kern area, and they list that as a source, and they can only get so much out a year, and MWD certainly in the Castaic Lake owns most of that water. We only have, I think, about 5,000 acre feet that we can have. And of course, if they need it, guess who's going to get it? We're not going to get it. Metropolitan Water District will take it. And in one of these contracts with the water banking, not only can they only take certain amounts per year, but they are second in line to get it. And so they're using all of that to prove that we are going to have water, but they don't tell you all of these caveats. So, and restrictions. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the almonds. That is very close to me. My father grew almonds for years in the Antelope Valley, in Quartz Hill. And in fact, I think he had 40 acres. And when they had a drought, first of all, he was a dry farmer. So they expected the rain, and they got the rain. And when they had droughts, he would go around with his water truck and water. So now I don't understand why these other farmers are having to use so much water for their almond trees. That just blows my mind. I think there's something, I don't think you were getting the proper information from them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, let's all realize that we have, I think we all realize there's a problem. And let's keep watching our elected officials, because if the drought continues, we need them to step up. And you know what, if they don't, the problem's just going to get worse, and we probably will get more concerned about who's sitting in what seat. Okay? Thank you.